Hello, fellas.
Hey, what's up, Steven?
Hey, hey. And I'm getting my graphics all pulled together here. There we go. Now I'm ready. See, 'cause I got this big mirror behind me, and I've got the
Nice.
Soundwaves logo that's on this monitor, but then it would be reversed. So I actually have a flipped version of the logo that I put up on the screen. So that, oh, you get it. You get what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow, man. Like, mind blown, dude. Mind blown.
So how
How
goes
have you
it?
been? No, it's good, man. I had like I don't know, kind of a crazy busy day. So I was looking forward to this one all day. Oh,
Well, we shot an episode today, a couple hours ago.
yeah?
So we got that knocked out, fortunately.
Nice.
And
Nice. Any chance you guys, are you looking at all going back to studio kind of video or just
it's
not happening this season?
it's gonna be a while, you know. I mean,
What's up,
I don't know.
everybody?
Hey,
Hey,
what's up, man?
Hello. Hello, Steven.
How are you?
Good.
Good to see you, man.
Cool. It's going to be a fun night tonight.
That's the plan.
Man,
Forgot my glasses.
I apologize.
what?
Nature calls at, the most inopportune times. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I am digging the beard.
Yeah, it's well, I'll tell you, it's okay. Some days it's awesome. Some days it's a huge pain in the ass. Like I took the wife and kids out for ice cream last week. And I haven't had an ice cream cone for a while. I got a big double cone, kind of thing. And sure enough, I get there, I take a bite out of it, and I get ice cream all over this. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I,
Yep.
wait till I got home, and I'm like, a 3-year-old kid with the ice cream dripping down my hands, until I got home and I could put it in a bowl and eat it.
Yeah, man. Do you remember you ever remember Swenson's?
Is that one of those like Farrell's or something? One of the because I'm from
Oh,
back
man.
east, so if that's a West Coast thing, it's probably before my.
I think it was I think it was a West Coast thing, but yeah, it was an ice creamery, and it had a little bit more of that old school, ice cream parlor sort of feel to it. But they would sell the clowns, right? So it's a scoop of ice cream with the sugar cone on top, in a bowl.
Nice.
So yeah, man, it was all good stuff. So we're gonna cover a variety of topics tonight. But you're right.
Cool.
With the beard thing, oh man. Like this, when I'm wearing a mask all day, it gets all
yeah.
steamy and it curls up like this, and then I'm like chewing on beard fragment. And sometimes I get a little bonus in there with like some lunch frags.
Yeah.
So
You find like a Cheeto in there?
I might, man. There's like one day there was a little animal that kind of trucked across the top of the ridge here.
Oh, man.
It's like a little llama. He got to the top of the mountain right over here and kind of like, yeah. What are you drinking tonight, Steven?
I'm just having some beer tonight.
Mm.
All right. Well, folks, we are officially live. Welcome to Hanging with Friends. Ruben, how's it going, man?
Good.
Yeah. We are here talking to Stephen Kirk, our good friend. It is always a pleasure to see you, sir.
That's great to see you
And,
guys as well, man. I'll tell you, this is a lot of fun, and I am so sick and tired of being locked up. I mean, once a week I get together with Dennis and Chasta and Morris, and we shoot a show,
Yeah.
and I get to see the 4 of them. That's about it. It's been it's been my wife and my 2 kids for the past 6 months. So thank God, thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's great. I mean, you have a very, very deep knowledge of like the music scene, and I don't know, you have a lot of experience. So it's great. I feel we're very lucky to have you on here with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and first and foremost, I want to emphasize how awesome your show is, and for everybody who doesn't know the history, I mean, you guys have been doing this for a long time, and we had the pleasure and the honor to start interacting with you more back. Time is just a flat circle for me right now. Sometime last year, right?
2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, it was going into the second season.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we did your holiday party, which was a ton of fun.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just want to emphasize for everybody, Soundwaves is an awesome show. It has really expanded my lexicon when it comes to knowing about local music and local bands. And I mean, when you talk about the San Francisco Bay Area, I mean, damn, there is just a multitude, a magnitude of talent, right? And it's great that, it's great that you guys put on this program and that you get to showcase these people that I feel like don't get a lot of exposure, and exposure for bands in general, I feel is always a struggle. So thank you for that.
Oh,
Thank you.
I mean, it's our pleasure, believe me. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. When we decided to bring the show back, and it was sort of a fluke that the show actually came back to life, because Dennis started the show way back in the early 80s, and I came on like 2 years after he started the show, and then he and I did the thing all the way through 500 episodes, 25 years worth of Soundwaves. And then we ended up taking the show off of the air because the record labels were starting to go, hey, you guys should be paying us. And we're like, we shouldn't. And so we wrapped up the show. We took it off the air, and we were off the air for about a decade. But we kept doing the Soundwaves Christmas show, which you guys were a part of. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
And so it just happened to work out that Dennis was in the radio station building that has all these radio stations, including the Bone. And he ran into Chasta and just kind of introduced himself. And I mean, you guys know Chasta, and now you know Dennis. And so it was, hey, would you like to come out and be on our Christmas show and co-host? And she's like, absolutely. And so the way she tells it is, after we got done with this grueling shoot, the first Christmas show she did with us, and we're all flop sweat and exhausted and falling apart because we've been busting our balls all day long trying to get this show done. She comes up all perky at the end. Okay, what are we going to do next? And it's kind of like, I don't know. So we ended up coming up with the concept of bringing Soundwaves back. And my major concern, and I'll admit this freely because I wasn't really that in tune with the local music scene. My concern was, what are we going to do? What are we going to show? Because if we start going with the major label stuff again, we're going to run into the same problem we had before. And we don't, we're not doing the big sponsor thing and all that sort of stuff. So we can't afford to pay for rights for stuff. And then it just sort of morphed into, well, but we've got all this local music. The San Francisco music scene used to be a thing. It used to be a big deal. And I was concerned about the quality of the music and the quality of the music videos, because if we just had like a radio station and we're playing this great rock and roll that everybody's putting out and putting together, that would be great. But visually, it had to be up there. And I'm stuck back in 1985 watching MTV, and there's great videos, and there was a lot of crap videos too. And I was really concerned that we were gonna have people sending in stuff just shot on their phones and all janky, and the sound would be crappy. They're out in the garage banging on garbage cans and stuff. And there's a time and a place for that, don't get me wrong. But the quality of the music and the music videos that was coming in just blew me away. And I was, as soon as we started putting that first episode together, and Dennis is like, here, look at this. Here, look at this. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to shut up now, because this is awesome. This is great.
So tell me this, how does it feel to be this instrumental in the revival of the Bay Area music scene then? Because I think of you guys as being like just key players in this. It's not, like you said, it's not the big signed bands. It's not, big label kind of stuff. But what you guys are doing is so important, so vital to the unsigned bands or the indie bands, or, people that are startup kind of level, but they're bringing you a good product. So how does it feel being such a key part of that?
Well, I mean, I don't like to necessarily think that we're not Bill Graham or anything like that. We're not, necessarily building things from the ground up. We're just but I mean, we are a conduit. We love artists. We love the music. And one of the great things about Soundwaves is the fact that we play a lot of different stuff. We play rock and roll, and we play a little bit of hip hop, and there's a little bit of a country touch over here, and Ella Harp is over there, playing her harp. We are definitely quality over quantity, and we love having the relationships that we're making with everybody as well. So I don't know that we're not star makers or anything like that, but we just, it's an honor for us to be able to have this platform to help people get their music out there, because I feel bad for people. This is something we talked about on the show, I think 2 weeks ago, where as a consumer of music, because I'm not a musician. I mean, I've played bass a little bit, nothing important. But as a consumer of music, I love going to a live venue and seeing a band, whether I'm going to, a Dodger Stadium and there's 30,000 of my closest friends sitting in the audience with me, or if I'm down at the longboard and there's, 100 people there. It's still the same thing for me. I still just love to be in that moment and to get that energy, that communication that you get with a band when they're up there doing their thing and you're sitting there and you're taking it, and it's that give and take and that back and forth, and having a few beers in you also helps. But for me, that's what I really miss the most about all the stuff that's going on. We're still getting great music. We're still getting great videos and everything, but God damn it, I miss being able to see you guys in person up on the stage doing your thing.
No,
I feel like right now, it was kind of like one of those stars aligned kind of situations when you guys came back to have a platform to provide for indie musicians that out of necessity and out of, just kind of like having technology where we can do videos that are of higher quality, everything just kind of lined up, and I think it worked out, and it's great. And I, for one, I'm super grateful that we were able to work with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, and we're planning on keeping the doors open and the lights on for quite a while here. I mean, we're kind of rolling with the punches. It sucks that we're not in the studio right now. We've got enough of a relationship going off of what we built working in the studio. And Dennis and I, we've worked together for 30 some odd years. So we've made TV for this long. So we've got a shorthand. We just boom, boom, boom. We ping off each other, and it's great. And Chasta just fell right into it. I mean, she's a pro anyway, but just our chemistry and everything is just this 1, 2, 3. And then when Morris came on, it was like, it's one of those things where it's me and Dennis doing our thing, and that's great. And then, well, can we get Chasta in here? So it's not the Soundwaves Sausage Fest. Let's get a chick in here, but then she ends up being incredible, And then we're kind of like, oh, this is the the triad here. This is the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. I mean, this is perfect. This is awesome. Can we squeeze Morris in too? And then Morris comes in and brings in his energy, and it opens up a whole new door. I'm not saying I'm not putting a thing out there, auditions or anything like that we want to get 60 new hosts or anything. I think we're good. I think we're topped off right now. But what we've been able to create over the past 3 seasons, and even having to do it like this, having to do a Zoom call and having the Brady Bunch thing going on, just trying to keep the energy going. And Dennis, God bless him, he's the one that's got to edit all this shit together too, because he's got to sit there and it's like today, here's a little peek behind a curtain. So my captain's quarters back here, it's built on the back of my garage. So it's a separate room. And I've got the microphone set up over there where I can do voiceover stuff and everything. But it gets hotter than hell back here, especially in the afternoon. There's no insulation back here. I don't own the house. I didn't build it. So it is what it is. So it gets pretty toasty in here in the afternoon. So I have my little fan on over here. And for the show, I've got a different shot that I've got set up that you'll see. I've got my slot machine in the background and everything. So it's just like a little more scope. This is a little more intimate for what we're doing. But I left my fan on while we were recording, and I got to remember to start this and record this and turn those lights on and make sure that's right. And, so I've got a list of like this long already to get ready to shoot. And then Dennis goes, "You had your fan on, didn't you?" Yep.
Damn it.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're making it work, and it'll be great when we can get back in the studio. I mean, we've got another handful of episodes. We're doing the 7-episode run on coffee right now,
right.
And we'll see how that goes.
When is that? Tell us, everybody.
Yeah, well, you can see us Saturday night at midnight on coffee, and it's not like you guys are going out and doing anything anyway. On a Saturday night, rock and roll people should be having some fun, should be listening to some music, should be drinking, should be hanging out, should be having a good time. So it actually works out to be, I think, a pretty good time for us to go on and just do this kind of pirate radio thing,
Oh,
where
yeah.
we're just going in and, you know, we're doing our thing, you know,
Yeah.
and we're not, you know, we're not doing a lot to change we're not actually doing anything to change the format of the show. I have to watch my language a little bit. I may get bleeped occasionally because, you know, I got kind of a foul mouth, but hey, welcome to Soundwaves. You know, that's just how it
Let it
goes.
slide, man.
Yep. So, you know, so we're Saturday at midnight on Coffee. And then directly after that, it's available on demand. You go to soundwavestv.com and boom, it's right there. And we're still trying to keep the, you know, Sunday at 7 thing going. I mean, granted, it's available before that, but there's just something about destination TV for me. And this is just me being old school, I guess, you know, because I grew up back in the day before they had DVRs and all that sort of stuff. And when it was time to watch Charlie Brown Christmas, this is when you watch it. And if you don't see it then, you're not going to see it until next year.
Yeah.
CBS, man. Sponsored by Dolly Madison.
It's right.
Well, and, you know,
That's where I learned about the zingers.
there was something really fun and dramatic about TV being on appointment, right? You know, if you're watching it with friends or you know, you got to rush home to get there by, you know, whatever, 8:30 on a Thursday night to make sure you catch Seinfeld or something, right? And and one of the things that I really don't like about streaming is, like, you know, okay, Daredevil season 1 comes out, and that first weekend, okay, everybody watches it, and if you haven't watched it, if you haven't put in 10 hours in a weekend to watch the entire season, then the whole thing is spoiled for you on that
People
Monday,
talking.
you know?
Right.
And yeah, so I mean, there is something I definitely do miss about, like, on appointment television.
Yeah, I think the closest thing now is like the Super Bowl. You know, if you don't see it now, then you're going to miss everything. They're not rerunning it. I mean, sure, you can DVR it, but yeah, you're going to go on social media and you're going to know exactly what happened, because everybody's got their apps going that as soon as something happens, it shows up on there. Kind of takes the fun out of it, you know?
Well, you're going to miss all the good commercials, because like after the Super Bowl, they're all chopped down to like 30-second commercials then.
Yeah, but even
Whereas
some
like
of
during the
those,
Super Bowl, it's the nice long ones.
yeah, but even at that, you can go on YouTube before the Super Bowl in a lot of instances and watch them. I
They're all
don't.
on there.
You know, I wait because I want it.
Yeah.
Because I see that's a thing for me, and that's one of the reasons, like with the Christmas show or any of the stuff that we do, you know, I want it to be as good as it can be for the audience. And this has been, because I'm a performer from way back. You know, I've done theater, you know, I've been on TV and movies and blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff, and on radio, and it's always been about the experience for the audience. I mean, when I worked at Universal Studios, I worked in the entertainment department up at the theme park, and I would work with some of the lookalike characters and special events and everything. And I was always meticulous about wanting it to be just right for the audience experience. I did a restoration on the original DeLorean from Back to the Future, like about 20 years ago now. And because my whole thing was, I mean, they had the guys in the tram garage, you know, the union guys that would, okay, there's no Mr. Fusion on the back of this, but hey, we got this stovepipe, you know, we'll just stick that on the back. It's fine. Nobody's going to know the difference. You know who knows the difference? The people that came to Universal, and last night they watched Back to the Future because it's their favorite movie. And then they show up to, you know, tomorrow and go into the theme park to see the car. And it's like, what the hell happened? You know, what is this?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's in a nutshell. I mean, that's a good example of the attention to detail that I like to do, and Dennis is famous for, you know, as far as editing and stuff, because our thing really is good enough isn't good enough. You know, it's got to be as good as it can be, if not better. And if it's great this week, it's got to be even better next week. We've got to find the ways to really improve it and really take it up a notch, make it better, make it as good as it can be. You know, right now we're shooting a show on our cell phones, you know, and we're putting stuff together, you know, with spit and baling wire. Now, granted, Dennis, you know, I mean, he's got the great editing and he's, you know, mixing everything down and everything is great. So when you see the show, looks great, sounds great, it's awesome. But we're literally, you know, just slapping shit together and it's the final product between the performances and the music that comes in and everything. It's really kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Sometimes it seems like it's a jigsaw puzzle of all the same color, where we're trying to figure out how to make stuff work. But we get the job done, and I like to think that we're doing a pretty good job.
Fantastic job, of course, yeah.
And it shows. It's I mean, I know by now people have heard this phrase a million times, but like, what is it? If you love your job, you don't work a day in your life, right? But I feel that applies to anything you enjoy. I mean, if you enjoy what you do, you're going to work on it endlessly, and you're going to try to make it the best it can be. And that, I mean, it definitely, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. With the holiday special, I was so super impressed, and I loved what you guys did with our footage. I mean, we couldn't have been happier with that. So thank you for that.
Oh, and there's actually a special guest that wanted to say hello to you because they knew you were going to be here tonight.
Oh,
Okay, awesome.
my good friend. Yeah, together again.
Get his cameo in our performance, right?
Yeah, I really messed Dennis up with this because the original Build-A-Cat has been on every Soundwaves Christmas show. And actually, our very first show was just Dennis and I trying to beat a record. We were trying to stay on the air longer. We did a 30-hour marathon where we stayed on the air live 30 hours to beat the record, which was 25 or 26 before. And then when the following year came around, now what are we going to do? Oh, well, let's do a Christmas show. Okay, so Build-A-Cat was on that original 30-hour marathon, and he's been on everything ever since. But Dennis owns Bill, and Bill's always been up there. So a couple of years ago, I was at a Goodwill, and I saw this bill. And so I bought it for $5, brought it home, took a picture and said, "Hey, you missing something?" And he's like, he thought I grabbed his bill, and yeah, because that's just the way I am.
Well, what's cool is that I saw that there was like a share from the picture you guys posted up from the creator of Build-A-Cat. Yeah, that's awesome. Super cool.
Running with the big dogs. Yeah.
Well, maybe the next Christmas special, I'll have him jump up on stage with me, and he'll be my dance partner for the next.
Well, Dennis's son Daniel, who is 14, I think, is a computer whiz right now, and he's doing all these. He's actually doing some graphics for the show for us. Animated stuff. So by then we put him on it now. He'll have animated Bill dancing on stage with it. And
like
if you're watching,
Paula
let's make that happen, okay?
Like that Paula Abdul video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take a quick moment to just let our audience know that, hey, don't be shy. We have Steven here. We're talking to him. We always encourage our audience to ask questions, as many questions as you can, for our awesome guests. So please don't be shy. We oftentimes have very shy audiences, and I have to sort of give them a little push. But yes, from the band, we are asking you. We're telling you. We're calling you out. Please write in your questions, and we will chat. Steven, the word from a bird is that you're a huge Cheap Trick fan.
Oh yeah, and, Cheap Trick was my first rock and roll concert back in 1982.
Oh wow!
And I saw him at the New York State Fair in Syracuse, New York, and this was fairly early in my it was my first rock concert, and I was just getting back into rock and roll, and so seeing those guys back then, I had, as a matter of fact, that's why Dennis had this shirt designed. The Soundwaves, which is rip off. I mean, homage to the Cheap Trick logo.
Doffing of the hat.
Yeah. But I see them every chance I can, because that's one of those bands. First of all, just from the nostalgia factor, but also from the kick-ass factor. I love those guys. And when we did a couple of years ago on the show, we had a contest where we had. It was a threesome show. It was Cheap Trick, Hart, and Joan Jett all on the same night. And so we gave away tickets for that. And so we got to go to that, and we brought some friends along with us. And it was my son's first rock concert as well. Of course, he was
wow.
only, I think, like 12 at the time.
Yeah.
So he beat me at that. But still, so I've got I've got this great picture of the two of us wearing matching Cheap Trick shirts, and we wore those to the show. And we were right up front. I mean, we were like 2 rows back. So I've got a great picture of him with a big shit-eating grin on his face with Rick behind him playing a guitar. And what was great, if you have a chance to do this, if you ever need to get souvenirs when you go to a rock show and you got a kid with you, send them up front, because they loaded them up. It's like, he's looking around because, Rick throws out all the pics and stuff. And so Chris was kind of like, puppy dog, I didn't get anything. And people are like, oh, here, have a pic. Have a pic. Nice. Pics for everybody.
That's right. Hey, we got one question for you real quick.
Yeah.
All right. And this one's coming from Mondo Bronca.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to know, what are your, 3 top Cheap Trick songs? What's in your podium there?
She's Tight, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. I just love the title. All right.
Can't Stop Falling in Love. And what's another one that I was...
They didn't meet my second ex-wife.
Really?
Or the first. So what's the third?
And so if I had to come up with the top 3, probably Yellow Kitties, because that's what they start their shows with all the time, and that's when the party's going to start, is when they come out and do that. So that would probably be right up there too.
Mm.
I will say, I've only ever had their greatest hits, and that's why I'm always fascinated to really like explore these bands that I know less about. Yeah. But I do know enough about them to know the song "She's Tight."
Yeah,
I remember putting that in, listening through the greatest hits, and that song came on, and I was like, wow, this took a turn. But yeah, Cheap Trick, man, solid. And I imagine it probably was pretty annoying for a while. I imagine for you, every time you'd have a conversation with someone that didn't know much about them, they probably brought up the same song, right? But I don't know. I mean, is that sort of your experience, or?
Oh yeah, but fortunately, I usually don't hang out with assholes. I hang out with cool people like you guys. So the people I hang out with are pretty open-minded when it comes to music, and I just kind of, and for me, here's a great example, the Jay Giles Band, right? When I first really started getting back into rock and roll, and this is I had a conversation. It's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. Here's a little sneak peek for you. I did an interview with Steve Barron. Steve Barron is a film and music video director, but he's the guy that directed Billie Jean for Michael Jackson. He did Take On Me. He did Money for Nothing. He did, there was like 3 guys that did all the great music videos in the 80s, and he is one of them, And so I've got this great interview with him that we're going to have on the show in a couple of weeks. And one of the things that in preparing to talk to him and looking through his resume of all the videos he did, one of the things that I realized was when MTV started and I started watching I was watching the videos, that's when I really kind of reconnected with music, because before that, music for me was something that was on in the background. I'd put it on and I might sing along to something, but it was over there. It was a thing. And, Gary White, Dreamweaver, that's one of the ones you got to have the cans on for and listen to for all the spatial shit going on. But for me, when I started watching MTV and started watching the music videos, that's when I really started to focus in, because you had my attention. Now you had my attention, my undivided attention for that 3 minutes. I was watching this video and I was listening to the song. And I brought up the Jay Giles Band before, and one of the things with them, they had a couple of videos on MTV. They had Love Stinks and Centerfold, and that stuff's great. I mean, anytime it comes on the radio, crank it right up. But I started, going through the bins and coming up with some of their earlier stuff and some of their really cool early jazzy kind of stuff and their bluesy stuff. And you can go pretty deep with a band like that that's been around for a while, and to see them progress and move forward. Another band that I've always been a big fan of is Heart. Ann and Nancy Wilson. Ann Wilson is just incomparable. You just can't, nobody can hold a candle to her. But and it's kind of funny too, because Steve Barron directed one of their videos. And there was that time in the 80s when they came out in the 70s, and they're very bohemian and all the real love song kind of stuff. And there was some passionate stuff like Barracuda that had a real edge to it. When they got to the 80s and had to start making music videos, and they tried to fit into the 80s music video mold, it just never really worked. And even though the songs, the quality of the songs are still there, but seeing them in, kind of shoehorned into that, it didn't feel right. Now that they're past that point and they're doing their own thing again, well, now we can get back on track.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. There's a lot of those 70s musicians that I feel when they had to convert to, this new system in the 80s of being video stars and
well, hence the song, right? Video killed the radio star, right?
Yeah, but it's just interesting to see how some of them would have to reformat and, the varying degrees of success. Some people were able to do it, some people weren't. A quick random question for you. Did you ever see that cover of Stairway to Heaven that Heart did? And they kept zooming in on Robert Plant, waiting for him to cry. It was just such a beautiful version of that song.
Oh yeah, you could tell that he was just taken to another place with that. And can you imagine, something like that is your signature piece, and to have somebody serenade you with it and have it be just so perfect, and just, as far as I could tell, it was just her and him in the room. There was just that connection, and that's rock and roll right there. That's music. That's the power of music right there. To be able to, you've got an auditorium full of people, but as far as he was concerned, it was him and Ann Wilson right then and there, and that's what music's all about right there, man. To be able to reach out and sing to each one of those individual people and make them feel something. It's amazing.
You know how, like, Guitar Center, the joke is, like, that's the song that is forbidden, right? Like, nobody can play Stairway. Okay. So I have a theory that is the only time that, the remaining members of Led Zeppelin were actually okay hearing it. I think that was the only time that it was like, you know what, I'm going to just sit back and enjoy this because this is a good version and thank you.
Yep.
Instead of, let's say Jimmy Page walks into Guitar Center and needs some strings, right? Because that's got to happen occasionally. And there's a kid over in the corner. Oh my God. I wish I didn't write that song. Yep. Hey, Steven, so Carol Garcia, she's got a question for you. She wants to know, what year was it when you guys met?
I met Carol probably in 86 or 87.
Oh, such a good year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's when I met Carol. So, yeah, it was a great year. But we did Dennis and I did, because we do a little bit of everything. It's one of those things you try it and see what happens. We did an award show one year. It was called the Foggies. And I'm sure we've got pictures of it around. I know I've seen them, and it's me with the mullet, and I had the big porn stash going on at the time. And, I had the red suit on, and I was doing some stuff with this guy who had built this big prop. It was a big boom box, but the thing was like 20 feet long. It was huge. And the stage that was where PCT was, the Channel 8 at the time, it was in an old school, so they had an auditorium and there was a stage. So we backed this thing up against the stage, and we had a podium that had all this cotton batting on the front that looked like fog. So it was the Foggies, and we had like one award, and it was just one of those standard awards. But I put a guitar in the guy's hand, and we put a bunch of cotton batting on the bass, so it looked like he was standing on a foggy cloud, and. We gave awards away to like George Michael and all. They obviously didn't come. We didn't even know about it. We were just shitting around. But, Carol actually came and she performed on a show with us. That was, I remember very well her coming out and doing her stuff. And she's still kicking ass today. Carol's another one with a great voice that just knows how to work the audience.
Well, that was a good little story. So that answers Carol's question. Now, we got another listener out here, Stevie Lovelace. He is suggesting a video store story. You have one kind of in the wings ready to tell? Okay. And mind you, we don't have a censor here, so this can go any direction.
Well, there was this one Halloween party.
I'm listening.
Yeah. And as I recall, I was, and my recollection is a little foggy, and you'll see why when I tell the story. I was dressed up as a Vulcan that evening. I had soaped out the edge of my eyebrows and painted on some pointy ones, and I had this black tunic on with a Starfleet insignia and everything. And that was one of those, there were parties where you drink and you get drunk and you have a good time, and you wake up hungover, or you wake up in somebody else's bed, or you'll wake up, where am I kind of thing. This wasn't one of those nights. This was one of those nights where I got so destroyed drinking everything I could get my hands on. It was one of those nights. This is when when Dennis and I worked at the video store. His dad owned the store, and then Dennis and I worked there. And so after the party, we went to Denny's, and I spent most of the time while people were inside at Denny's. I was sort of back and forth, barfing in the bushes out in front, and then coming back in and eating a little French toast and go, yeah, that's not working, and then back out, So when that was all said and done, I ended up, and I don't even remember, Dennis would probably have to chime in on this, because I don't remember how I got back to the video store. All I remember is I'm in the video store, and I'm back in the bathroom, and I'm kind of, laying. That tile felt kind of nice and cool on the side of my face, And so the next morning, I finally crapped out, and the next morning, Jim Willis shows up, Dennis's dad, and he goes to unlock the door, and it's unlocked. And he's kind of like, well, what the hell is this? Why is the door unlocked? And he comes in, and he's looking around, and here's me curled around the toilet in the back, right? And so he kind of like, boot, kicks my shoes and, you all right? And so I'm up, and I'm, feeling a little not ready for prime time, And this is, I had the longer hair, and I apparently had been, lying in God knows what. And so one half of my hair was all sticking straight up on one side, and I'm kind of like stumbling through the place. And so I'd fallen asleep with my contacts in. So I managed to get home, take the contacts out, and I figure, okay, I got to be back to work in 2 hours, but I'll just catch a quick nap. So I get a little quick nap, and I get back to the video store, and I'm sitting there, and then I start getting the DTs. I start getting the shakes,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't put my contacts back in. I had my glasses on, but my vision was still foggy because I'd actually drank myself half blind. And so I'm sitting there, like Gollum or something, I'm just kind of like hunkered over in a chair, and I'm quivering and stuff. And I get to the phone, I go, Dennis, can you come down and take over for me, because I don't think I'm going to make it. And, poor Dennis had to come in on his day off just to take over for me,
I feel like Denny's could have done that to you just by
Just
itself.
alone,
Right.
Could have been a bad bit of sausage, I mean, it certainly didn't help.
I don't know, man. 2:30 in the morning after a nice night in Vegas on the Strip, I was like, all I wanted were their eggs. That was just like the best thing.
Yep.
I needed some eggs. All right, so video store question. Your little, side thing.
Yep.
Back in the 80s with the video stores, there used to be more of the mom and pops. There wasn't the Blockbuster thing, so you would have like Branham Video and things like that.
Yep.
So, did this video store have the little Western doors in the back? You know what I'm saying? The little swing doors.
Oh, you want to know if there's that special section in the back?
Yeah, the one that Dad kicked me out of when I walked in there inadvertently.
That's the one. Oh yes,
No.
yes, of course. I mean, that was some of our best business was back in there. And so in the video store, of course, you didn't have the movies out on the shelf. You had the boxes out there, and then the movies themselves were in a clear clamshell case in a bookshelf setting, with a number on it. So you get the number on the box, you go pull the movie, off you go. Well, so you had the clear boxes here, but the boxes for that section back there were these dark brown boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the thing, because you'd come in the morning, and we had a little, you open the slide and you'd slide the movies back in and stuff. And you'd think, hey, you did pretty good last night. And you'd come in and you'd pick up the box, and it'd be like, a copy of Top Gun and, maybe a Star Trek movie, and then about 40 brown boxes in there. So that was a rather profitable part of the
business.
Yeah.
Top Gun,
Zeke and
Ferris
I,
Bueller's Day Off, Top Gun. Yeah.
They had top hung.
Zeke and I used to work at a store that was a video store before we started working there. It became like a 99-cent store. But we used to go in the back, and it was like that whole section was still like there. You know, all the posters and everything. We used to go back there and take our smoke breaks and just kind of hang out and hide from our bosses. You know, like every once in a while. Remember that, Zeke?
Yeah, I do remember that. They had a lot of copies of Mortal Kombat back there too, for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason they had like 20 copies of it. Yeah.
Hey, that movie gets me in the mood sometimes. You know, there's some epic
The
battles
Scorpion,
going
right?
on.
Oh, hand-to-hand combat. Yeah.
It's Goro with his 4 arms, I guess, right? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say, the movies back then had the best titles. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
it was,
I mean,
it was
they're
always like
very
a parody
creative.
on a. Oh yeah, I mean the film quality was for shit, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's like really like there's no creativity. You just wanted like some variation of like Pooper Man, you know, or whatever.
Man.
Hey, we were told that you were like a massive collector, and a few episodes back, we actually had just like some
Oh yeah.
viewers come in, and they were.
It was the France Slam, right? And they showed
Yeah.
a bunch of their collectibles that they had. Mondo Branca showed us his Disney room. Jeff Pedraza showed his Die Hard collection,
Right.
and we were told that you would have been perfect for that because you have a big Superman collection.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. Too bad I didn't get in on that one. Yeah, I mean, as I sit here in the captain's quarters, and by the way, in case you guys don't know the story, the reason I call this the captain's quarters is not only because it's my space here, but I actually got a makeover done on this place.
Yeah, Shatner, right?
Yeah, Bill Shatner and the Property Brothers were over here, and they redid my place for me, which is why it's all Star Trek-y looking in the background here.
Awesome.
It's cool.
But it's just
Do
here
your
in
doors
this.
make that sound? Like,
I,
did they do
you know,
that?
they don't open that way, but I do have an intercom thing that when you break the beam, it does make that sound, of course. Because
That's
Yeah.
super cool.
That'd be great.
But
Now,
just as I'm sitting right here, I can look over here and I've got a cape that was worn by Christopher Reeve in Superman
man.
3 hanging on the wall over here. I've got some Stars and Stripes trunks from Rocky 5 over
Oh,
here. So, and that's just, a couple of things that I've got in here. I used to have a lot more stuff. I used to work at the Hollywood Wax Museum like 20 some odd years ago. I was one of the curators there, and I built wax figures and props and sets and everything. And I got into collecting memorabilia back then. And I had a pretty fair collection. And me and my friend, who also worked at the Wax Museum at the time, we put together a collection of memorabilia that went on tour in Australia. And I got to go on a 12-city tour of Australia.
oh,
And what
man.
they did is they had the stuff all in these, it was the Westfield shopping malls. And so they took like 250 of our best pieces, and there was some classic stuff and contemporary stuff. And they put it together in all these custom cases. And so it all got shipped over to Australia, and then just started making the tour. It would be in this mall for a couple of days, then I would go to this one here, and then I would go around and I would do press in the different towns, being the Yank that came over, because I was the one with a funny accent when I got there, because everybody else was locals. So,
Yeah.
so
When
yeah,
you're in
Did you
Australia,
find
though-
yourself saying mate a lot?
I really tried not to.
Try
because
not to, right? Yeah.
I
By the
didn't
end of it,
want to
though.
embarrass myself.
By the end of it, though,
Right.
yeah.
So over there, are they like looking at you like, like basically when you come over here with the Australian accent, it's like, oh my God, they're hot. I mean, it could be like a guy or a girl, man. It's just like, oh my God, did you hear that accent? I mean, like, yeah, he's he's hot. That's pretty cool.
I was treated like a god.
I know, because I mean, I'm not anything to look at really, but I imagine I'm hopeful anyways that if we ever go on tour in Australia, they're gonna be like, oh my God, did you hear his accent?
I
my
always love
God.
when actors have to do the American accent, like like Benedict Cumberbatch when he did Doctor
Yeah.
Strange. It was
Yeah.
I am an American.
But like Liam Neeson, right? There was like a Family Guy thing where they're like Liam Neeson trying to do a Western. He's like, howdy, partner. He just couldn't do it,
I have
But-
a really flat American accent.
I'm sorry.
It could be worse. It could be Nicolas Cage trying to be like he's from Alabama. That was that was probably the. You get to see him do that in what was it? Jesus, what was it? Con Air. It's just like
Yeah.
this isn't gonna go well. I mean, yes, I'm gonna watch the entire movie, and yes, I will pay for it, but this is not gonna go good. It's just no.
Now, sorry to take a hard right here, but I did hear that you're a Superman fan.
I am.
And man, I got to tell you, so as someone that used to be a huge Batman dude, and I used to really hate Superman, nowadays I've actually flipped. I actually love Superman, and I kind of don't like Batman.
Wow.
So I'm really curious, what got you into Superman, and why is he one of your favorites?
Well, actually, hang on one second, because it's kind of too bad that you're not a Batman fan anymore, because I would have.
Oh, tell me you've got the mask,
This
or at
might
least
have
a
been
little box
this
with
might
the
have been of
nipples in it.
some
Ah.
interest to you at some point.
Oh,
So
dude.
these are actual production batarangs here from the first movie.
Wow.
This is a bat disc that actually got shot out of the side of the Batmobile in Batman Returns.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, see, and then from Batman Forever down here. So, but you
Nice.
don't care about that stuff anymore. So I'm just gonna.
Well,
Oh, rough.
well, let me backpedal just a little bit here. No, I used to love Batman. I still like some of Batman, but I actually appreciate Superman a lot more and his whole lore and the whole philosophy behind Superman that it took me forever to really understand why he's interesting. But there was a comic I read called Superman Red Sun. I don't know. Have you read that?
Yeah.
And once I read that, I was like, oh, I understand Superman.
Well, I got into Superman kind of, in increments, because I started off being a big Batman fan, 60s Batman fan, hence the, Batmobiles all over the place here. And then I started watching The Adventures of Superman, the George Reeves series.
Right.
Yeah.
And while, George Reeves, he was, he pretty much, his Clark Kent and his Superman were pretty much the same. He didn't really change it up. It's not like, this is a job for Superman. He didn't do any of that sort of stuff, But when the first Christopher Reeve movie came out, that was it for me. I mean, it's on my list of top 5 movies. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of every year, on January 1st of every year, I watch Superman the movie and the first Rocky film. That's my New Year's Day marathon that I do. Is I always watch those two. And anytime there's a screening someplace, even though I've seen the movie, a billion times, I own it on every format. I've got laser discs.
Yeah.
If it's on the big screen, I'll go see it. I've been fortunate enough to do some Q&As where I've got to work with some of the actors from the films and the producers and stuff. So I get up on stage with them and talk to them about the movie. I used to go to the Superman celebration in Metropolis, Illinois. You familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Since 1972, this little town of Metropolis, Illinois, it's the southern part of Illinois. They got their population is like 6,500 people. But since 1972, they've done the Superman celebration. And they've got a 15-foot tall statue of Superman in the middle of town. They have people from the movies and the TV series and the comic books. They come out as guests, and then people show up, and you'll get like 35,000 people that'll come in for that weekend in this little tiny town.
Wow.
And I actually, you may not know this about me, but I am a Guinness World Record holder, and it's Superman related, because I came up with the idea of seeing what if there was a record for the most people dressed as Superman in one place. And there wasn't a record. So I wrote to the Guinness people and back and forth and all that sort of stuff. And so is there an interest in doing this? And if so, how many people would we have to get, et cetera, et cetera. So they set a bar. They said 250 people in complete costume, and it's got to be the blue unitard, red trunks, yellow belt, red cape, S on the front. It's got to be the whole thing.
Can't be the mid 90s. Can't be the mid 90s.
It had to be
Superman.
it had to be the real costume. So anyway, I worked with the people in the city, and we pulled it together, and we got all these people that showed up, and there's little babies in their little Superman outfits, and I had people that were like Murphy Anderson, comic book artist. He was there, him and his wife, and they're in costumes, and we managed to get 250 some odd people together, and
Oh,
we
man.
established the record. So I've got the, I've got the plaque, with my name on it and everything. And one of the cool things about this, and I'll take a little bit of credit for it, is that once we established that record, first of all, it's sort of like being impeached. Once you're impeached, you can't take that back. You're kind of stuck with it. So anyway, I digress. But once you're a Guinness World Record holder, it's not like when somebody breaks your record, they come and take yours away. I'm a record holder,
Yeah.
But anyway, so once the record was established, these other corporations started getting involved and started doing these fundraisers and getting all these people. And this one company had 500 of their employees got together, all in Superman costumes, and they were doing this fundraising stuff. And then this other company got almost 1,000 people together in costume today. And it was all this fundraising thing. So from my little acorn of coming up with this thing where we could just do this in this little town, there's $1 million has been raised for charity just off of that alone.
That's
So
awesome.
That's awesome.
I take a little pride in that, to be honest with you. I don't toot my own horn about a lot of stuff, but I feel good about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were the spark that ignited that. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take it where we can get it.
Yeah.
That's
Well
cool.
done. Hey,
So,
we got
so-
another.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go finish up. I was going to say we got another little comment here that came from an anonymous tip here. This is going to go back to Soundwave stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. So we hear that, since you told us, Soundwaves has been around really for about 30 years, that there is going to be something special that's kind of in the works about Soundwaves, early history kind of stuff.
Well, it is actually something that Dennis and I have. It's not a secret. We've been,
Okay, good.
We've been working on it. We've announced it before, and the title is kind of bouncing around right now. We're looking at "I Am Soundwaves" as the title of a documentary about Soundwaves.
Nice.
And it's not just about Dennis and Steve and blah, blah, blah. I mean, there is, it's about us and about how we came together and our origins and stuff like that.
Well,
But it's also, we like to, we kind of think of ourselves as the way Dennis puts it, is that we're like the Forrest Gump of rock and roll, because we're bumping up against all this kind of cool stuff that happened in music history. And we just happen to be there when it was going on. Now we've dipped our toes in the water, in occasional places and done what we've done with the show, but it's not just about us. It's about the people that built the show. It's about the history around that time and everything. And it's pretty good so far. It's coming together.
What I keep picturing, throughout the history of this is, I keep picturing there's 4 other frantic romantics that you guys have run into over the years, and we just unknowingly are the 5th one.
No, I didn't know you. No, you guys are unique. you guys got the market cornered there.
Thanks. Ain't nothing been around like us. So tell us about it. What can we expect, other than that? Is there some dates as far as when we can anticipate this?
Yeah, it's going to be a little while. I mean, things have, there's, got this whole COVID monkey wrench that's kind of made it tough to do stuff, because it's, like I said, it's not just me and Dennis sitting in a chair going, so this is what I did, we're going over, we're digging through literally hundreds of hours of Soundwaves episodes from back in the day. We're looking for archival footage from other things that are happening in history at that point. Dennis has been setting up all kinds of interviews, talking to people because it was, Dennis and I hosted the show, but then we started having co-hosts. And when I moved down to LA, Joe McCaffrey came on, and he was a co-host through the 90s. And then there were other people, Dennis kind of he was sort of like Kurt Loder back in the day. He was the elder statesman that kind of sat back and then had the younger pretty people up in the front. And if anybody tells Joe McCaffrey that I said he was a pretty person, I will kick you in the teeth. But, so we go back and talk to a bunch of our hosts for their remembrances. And that's, it's like any of those other retrospects kind of thing. It's great to be able to look back all that time ago. I mean, I was, Dennis was, when he was doing the show, when he first started working on the show and I came on board, he was still in high school, and I wasn't, but I wasn't far out of high school, so to be able to look back at footage from 30 plus years ago, and here's this part of your life that's recorded for all time, that's great. but we're also, like I said, we're looking into the past as far as other people that were involved in the show, and we want to try and find out, like, as far as the industry was concerned, what was going on in the music industry at the time, you know, the things that led up to us taking the show off the air. I mean, that's part of the story, you know, why we only had the show going for that long. So we need to look at the underlying threads of why the show went off the air. So we get to actually kind of dissect the music industry as well. So that's a nice little time capsule for that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So what I think that people are crying for, though, is a YouTube teaser, like a trailer.
You know, well, once
I'm
again,
crying for one. I'm literally crying.
Under those
I'm
glasses,
shedding
he's
tears here.
crying.
I
No,
need a
once
trailer,
again,
man.
this is something that we've been working on for a while, and to be honest with you, Soundwaves kind of got in the way of the documentary, because when we were just doing the Christmas show, we had time throughout the year to kind of work on the documentary. But then we started doing the show again, then all of a sudden production time gets, you know, really chopped down, and it's not as easy, and especially now with us not being able to get together and do stuff. I mean, we can talk, you know, we can, you know, video conference back and forth. But one of my favorite things to do, it's been one of my favorite things to do for over 30 years, is to sit across a desk from Dennis, and we're working on something on the computer, and we're spinning some vinyl over here, and we're just brainstorming and we're working on stuff. And he hates it when he'll put a segment together in a sequence and it looks great and everything. What do you think? And I'll sit there and I go, and he just kind of like hangs his head because he knows it's coming. And the problem with that is, and he'll be the first one to admit it, he'll go, son of a bitch is right. You know, if it's just that little tweak kind of thing.
I think he mentioned that to us, I think.
Did
If
he?
I remember
He
correctly.
did.
Yeah, he mentioned
He
that to
did,
us.
yeah.
He
told us
probably
that.
tells that to anybody that'll listen, you know. It's son of a bitch.
But he says you're right, though. You know what I mean? When it comes
Yeah.
to that kind of feedback, it's the feedback that needs to be given. You know, that's cool.
Well, like I said, we've got that shorthand anyway.
Right,
where
right.
We, you know, so even if and it goes both ways. I mean, anything that I'm working on, I always have him look it over, and it's like, he'll say, no, this, make this change, fix this, do that. It's just what we do, and it's great. You know, I mean,
Right.
I know you guys are all pals, and you've been together for some amount of time and everything.
Yeah, me and
I don't-
Kerosene have that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys, if any of you have got somebody like that, that's a brother that is just right there. And, you know, I mean, he was best man at my wedding. He's probably going to, we're not sure who's going to tap dance on whose grave first, you know. I mean, I had that heart thing a couple of years ago, so, you know, I thought it might have been me, but I've been doing better. So I don't know, but one, you know, whichever one of us manages to win that race, you know, I mean, we're really tight. You know, I'm closer to Dennis than I am with my real family, you know.
Well, and you know, I mean, you guys have been working together for 30 years, you know, and definitely, I don't think, you know, I don't think you could work with someone for that long, if you weren't, you know, if it didn't work, right? If you weren't
Right.
pals, if you didn't get along, I mean.
Well, there was a period of time where we didn't get along. Because we worked together, we lived together. We had this duplex over on Lewis Lane in Pacifica, and we used to have parties every Friday night. And because Dennis had his DJ system, because that was one of his things, was that he was a DJ. So we had the DJ system that we could just pick up, take out to the car, take it to the gig, come back, you know. So we had the DJ system was always set up in the house, and we would have parties on Friday nights, and we would just have the music nice and loud, and we'd be singing and dancing, and people would be coming over, and just, you know, the place is full, and it was great. I mean, it was really the heyday of Soundwaves and the house parties and stuff, you know. And it would be times where, you know, because Dennis would always be mixing songs together, but if there was ever a reason where there'd be a little lull, is, you know, and there was one time where there's, you know, the music dips down a little bit and you hear this, and we go and open up the door, and it's the Pacifica PD, you know.
Wow.
And is there a problem, officer? And, you know, shit-faced, you know, is there a problem?
Only if you
officer?
don't let us in.
Do you think the fact that I've been banging on the door for 10 minutes with my nightstick and nobody answered, there might be the music might be a little loud. Okay, we'll turn it down a little. Yeah. So yeah, so we, we've done it all. We've seen it all. We've done it all, and that's part of the problem, because we actually got to a point where we had just about had it with each other, And when I moved to LA, it was around the time where we just weren't gelling, and there was a period of time where we didn't talk. We were mad at each other for Dennis. See, the good thing about me is while I'm regaling you guys with all these these wonderful stories of the past and everything, I paint in pretty broad strokes. I remember big things. Dennis remembers everything, every little detail, and I don't. He'll say, "Hey, remember that time we went to this place and we did this thing? We met this person." I got nothing. I seriously, no. And it's one of the great things about having the show and all these pictures and all this sort of stuff. Is saying, "Oh, okay, now that I see it, or I, see it, that kind of fires off some of the neurons there."
Yeah.
But Dennis remembers all that stuff, which is great for him. Not so great for me sometimes, because I'll make a joke about something and it's kind of a sore subject, and I say, "Oh yeah, I probably, oops, sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot." but we did, we managed to get past that stuff, because like I said, we weren't, at that point we weren't teenagers or anything, but we're still young and stupid,
Right.
So we grew up in that respect. I mean, in every other respect, we're still a couple of adolescents, obviously. But as far as our adult relationship is concerned, yeah, we got that shit all ironed out. So
That's good. I expect that all to be in the documentary.
Oh, it will be. Don't worry.
Stephen, I hate to be the time police, but it's this burden I carry on my back, friend. I'm the time police. So we'd like you to just take these, the next minute or two. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show, but we would love you to address the audience and, of course, us as well with, upcoming projects, what we have to look forward to, where we can find you. I know we've talked a lot about it, but just a recap, just so that everybody watching right now knows exactly where to go.
Okay. Well, Soundwaves TV, I mean, that's kind of the be all end all, because that's where everything is all tied together. You go to soundwavestv.com and you'll be able to find not only, the current episodes, but you can go back. Dennis has got the show archived back to the beginning of the Chasta era. So you can watch, you can get yourself caught up on everything. And we're all over social media, of course. All you got to do is look up Soundwaves TV, and that's the best place. I mean, I spend most of my time on Facebook. We'll see how long that lasts now with all the current shit that's going on. But Super Stephen Kirk on Facebook. That's the best way to find me on there as well. Upcoming projects wise, I'm working with my local theater group. I'm on the board of directors of a theater group here.
Oh, cool.
And we're putting together and we haven't been able to, we had a show that we were supposed to open 3 months ago. Didn't happen, obviously.
Right.
But we're still trying to find things to do. So we're actually planning on doing a banding together sort of a show, all Christmas music, and all people that are part of our theater group, where they can record stuff at home and send it in, and it'll be like banding together, but me, with a white beard and a Santa hat and ho-ho-ohing through the thing,
Oh, cool.
So that's kind of like the latest projects. And of course, Soundwaves TV is still in production. You can find us Saturday nights at midnight on Coffee TV 20 for the next handful of weeks, and then after midnight, we are available right there at soundwavestv.com.
Yeah, and if y'all watch, you might find some of your friends on there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Stephen. Thank you again. Pleasure talking with you.
That's great, guys.
Yeah, we
It's
would
been
love
awesome.
to have you back very soon, of course. And until then, definitely keep in touch, man. Let's chat about Superman.
Yes,
I'm all
yes,
about Superman.
Yeah, we'll discuss it offline. Yes.
Yeah. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in as always. This is Hanging with the Friends every Thursday night at 8:30, from 8:30 to 9:30. We have a music guest every week. Sometimes there's technical difficulties, but most of the time not. So definitely we'll see you next time. All right.
Thanks, Stephen.
You bet.
Thank you.